Hey everybody, this is Sheets, and I'm going to be going over the MMA card for, I guess that would be tonight. Um, I think it's a really, really good card from DFS perspective. I think it's well, I'll put it another way. Although I don't think there's going to be zillions of points, I think it's an easy slate to attack using the process that we've kind of discussed over the last, you know, many slates. Um, so I'm going to go through this with you, and I'm going to do a little bit fight by fight stuff because I think it's important, but we are going to keep an eye on the slate in general. See, the thing is that there's very few just really premium high price guys that are just kind of locks to score like 120 points or something like that. But there are a couple of spots that you really don't want to miss out on if they come through the way they might. So I'm going to highlight those and then, kind of give you my picks along the way as well. So one key fight, which you're going to have to get a piece of, is this Serkinov Span fight. It rates to finish probably inside the first round. You have both of these guys with, don't really are not really interested in letting it go more than one round. And you have Span, who's more of a striker. You have Serkinov, who's more of a submission artist, and they're just going to go after it. So you're going to want to have some of both of these fighters, and this is one of the fights that, again, if you fade this fight, you could be dead like immediately. Like not immediately because it's the second to last fight of the night, but you know what I mean. You're just drawing dead when somebody gets 110 points or something like that, which is very possible right there in the first round. So you definitely want to have that. The other side on this card that you're going to want to have it, and not necessarily you have to have 100% of it, but you just don't want this to beat you, is this Rodriguez versus Yaya fight. So on the one hand, Rodriguez is a pretty live underdog if it doesn't work out that I'm about to describe, but there's a very decent chance that Yaya submits him in the first round. I mean, Yaya always goes for this. He always tries to do this in the first round. Rodriguez is very submittable, so it's just one of those things that it's just one of those key pivot points on the slate where if this works out, which it could, and you don't have it, it could be a first round submission inside of 30 seconds or 45 seconds, and you're just going to have that. So the first thing I would make sure that I did is get both sides of both of the fights I just mentioned. But I would get both sides of the Serkinov Span fight, and I would get both sides of the Yaya Rodriguez fight. Because the idea is that if Yaya does not submit him in the first round, it's very possible that Rodriguez just has figured it out and will just grind him and either get a late KO maybe or a decision of his own. So like Yaya is not going to win on points. He's not going to win on strikes. So I think you have to get both sides of both the fights that I just mentioned. So the thing is, there's very few other real big point scoring spots like that. Like even the main event, which I like. I mean, I do think I'm going to get 100% of the main event, but it's not just a stone lock. Like Edwards at 9K, he's probably not going to, even if he wins, knock him out. It's probably going to be a grinding, 4 or 5 round fight, but only because they have those 5 rounds, he'll probably do enough to score his 100 points. That was pretty much what you're going to need from a 9K guy. There's a lot of other spots here on this card with kind of fishy 9K guys like his first name Martinez is fine, but he's it's going to be very difficult. He's not very difficult for him to get that first round knockout, for example, against Grant. I don't think Grant's going to beat him, but Martinez is kind of a chill dude, and I think he might be just content to go for just a very easy decision. And at 9,300, that might not be good enough. Um, but again, it's not that much in big upside spots here. Stewart at 8,900 is another guy. It's like going to be a really boring fight. I just really don't think there's this big upside there. Angela Hill against Yoder at 9,400. That's nothing special either. You don't really need to go get Angela Hill. Now she could get it done, but it's not as if, if you don't play her, you'll miss out necessarily. So the other fight, which I think you want to look at, is this Jordan Rojo fight. I think that there could be some kind of fireworks here, but I'm not completely convinced that Jordan is just necessarily going to win. He has some negatives as well. So I think this is another one you probably want to get both sides of. I don't think you have to get 100% of this one, but I think that you want to get a decent amount, again, of both sides over there. And then the one spot which I feel as though is kind of tough to not to fade, but probably the most likely 100 points you're going to see is going to be this Haqparast. This fight only happened because of two different withdrawals due to COVID, I think. And from everything that I'm reading and for everything I've seen, I mean, he's an enormous should be an enormous favorite, and he should, if not in the first round, worst case in the second round, get this done. So that would be probably the most likely, 100-point guy to get. But overall, it's not, that high scoring a card. Now, the other fight which you want to get a part of, and I actually have an opinion on this, is Jason Witt against Semelsberger. So the interesting thing about this fight is that I don't believe either fighter has lost by decision. So it naturally seems like the fight that you want to get a piece of. Witt probably more likely to get a submission, and Semelsberger most likely, if he wins, would be a knockout. I do have an opinion on this, and again, I was learning a little bit about MMA through doing this. And one thing I do know is, and have learned, is the coach of this Jason Witt is he's amazing. This guy Kraus, apparently, like, he hasn't lost like ever. I shouldn't say ever, but he's really been hot over the last like couple of cards. And you even hear him, just coaching his fighters through every situation, and doesn't seem like a guy that I'm kind of in the mood to fade right now. And he's Witt's coach, so I would lean Witt in this spot, pretty much, not 100% because of that, but it's not bad. So I do side with Witt, but I think that, again, it's another one you want to get both sides of. One that I haven't figured out yet whether I'm going to play is this Tucker versus Ige, or Ige, however you pronounce him. So Tucker, in his last fight, he faced Billy Quarantillo, who, and I remember all the content, was Billy Q was supposedly this incredible lock that was going to grind him into submission, that had incredible cardio, and Quarantillo was incredibly popular, and Tucker just wasted him. Okay. No, I shouldn't say wasted. He didn't knock him out or anything like that, but he just totally outclassed him. So, I mean, I actually feel that that's important. When you have a guy who comes in as an underdog or someone not expecting to do something and just really just takes care of business. So I like him a lot. But apparently Ige is really good too. Ige is probably better than Tucker, but I think at 7,600, he's definitely a live underdog. And the last fight, which I kind of struggle with, is this Cape Nicolau fight, because Cape was, again, he was another guy who, he was supposed to be part of this key fight like a few cards ago. He was fighting a Pantoja, and we talked about this. Like, it was supposed to be like an exciting fight, two guys swinging around, and Cape did nothing. I mean, Cape just did nothing. He was very, very inactive. And now they're making all these excuses that are saying, oh, well, it was a tough spot to face Pantoja. Yeah, but it wasn't like he was a 3-1 underdog. I think he was a pick-em in that fight. So it's not as if, wasn't fair to make Cop go against Pantoja. It was like basically a pick-em fight. He basically was terrible. So He didn't throw a lot of volume. He didn't do a lot of anything. And I'm hearing a lot of content indicating that, well, he's learning from that and he's going to do okay, maybe. But Nicolau is supposedly pretty good too. So I, it depends on who you believe. If you believe that Kopp is going to really just, learn from that and pick up the pace or whatever, then maybe Kopp could be a good GPP play. But as far as I'm concerned, Nicolas is kind of a live underdog. Now, again, the thing is that Nicolau is probably not going to knock him out. So it's not like you're going to expect if Nicolau wins, to get a shitload of points. But that's all you need is 7,500. You really just need the win. So the last thing is I will say back to the main event. I think I went back and forth, and so I was going to have 100% Edwards. Then I was going to have 50-50. Then I was going to have just a sprinkle of Muhammad. I think I am going to have mostly Edwards, but I am going to have a little bit of Muhammad. Edwards has just been off a layoff. He hasn't really done much recently, and Muhammad's been fighting. So I think that's worth something, especially at 7,200. So again, just to kind of recap, the key fights that you're definitely going to want a piece of are Serkinov and Span, that's for sure. And then also I would say this Jourdain Rojo, and also this Yaha Rodriguez fight. And then also I think this Semmelsberg Witt fight. I think those are like some very key fights that you can key off of. I don't think you got to mess around with the DePaulo Frey at all, the Casey Aldridge at all, and again the safest one is the Hasparok. Okay, so I think that gives you, and I think it gives you a little bit of direction without actually having to fill in lineups. The Andrew Stewart fight I think is a pass. I think that the Angela Hill Yoder fight is probably a pass. I think the Martinez Davy Grant fight, again, I don't think Davy Grant's particularly live, and I don't think that Martinez is worth the 9,300. So that's probably a pass also. So you could just kind of derive from that where I'm probably going to go. But again, as far as process goes, you want to highlight those fights that are going to generate a big score regardless of who wins. And I think that we've done a decent job in highlighting those. That's about it. I'm probably not going to be around for the fights. Actually, tomorrow I'm going out to the city to a restaurant of all places, believe it or not. So maybe I'll be back for the last one. Hopefully we'll have something to sweat. That's about it. And good luck.